Position on violence is I don't believe in it. I think we all have violent tendencies. I think it can be channeled. I think violence begets violence, as proved by the various marches and things that always end up with cops and people getting beaten up, or cops beating up people, or whatever it is. And I think marching and placards was okay for the 30s when people wanted bread, and then it sort of had some impact on people. But nowadays people are blasé about war, and they're blasé about placards and marching. And I think there's many ways of protesting, and this bed-in is one of them. It mightn't suit you, but you think of your own idea. That's all we're trying to do, is make you aware that there are other forms of protest. And if you do a non-violent protest, like some guy said happened in Berkeley, and then you get beaten up, well, that means it's like sitting on the seashore and you went in the deep end, or you went where the current was. So you've had the warning that this place is dangerous for swimming. So you retire, think about it, and make your next move. Don't make the same move again, because then they're going to beat you again. Frank, hi.
Hello, John.
Oh, hi.
Hi, my name's Jackie Stone.
Oh, hi, Jackie.
Who's this?
It's John F. Lennon.
Oh, hi, John. I want to call to ask you, are you going to still apply for your visa to come here?
I just applied today from the Montreal U.S. Embassy, and I'm hoping for the best.
Oh, really? Do you think you'll be able to come?
Well, yes, I do. I hope so, you know.
I hope so. Are you going to, how's Yoko?
She's fine and dandy.
How are you?
I'm fine. How are you?
Oh, I'm really groovy. I was going to ask you, are you ever going to come down to Windsor if you can't make it to America?
I really don't know what I'm going to do. I'm a gypsy and I go with the wind, you know.
Is it true that there's a single around? Because someone told me there was.
There's a single called The Ballad of John and Yoko, which is out any minute now, and hound capital, you get it quicker.
Oh, really?
Yeah, right.
Oh, is it? Oh, yeah, I must get
Aren't
that.
they playing it on the station? They've been playing it on some stations already.
Really?
Yeah.
I haven't heard it yet.
Oh, well, you must be listening to the wrong stations.
But I always hear it, you know, usually I hear it first.
Well, ask Frank to play.
These members of the ADC were told by system to go and kill. And the system forces them to kill. Well, a lot of people have had to evade the draft and desert as these
yeah, some deserted, some didn't go, you know. And I know what the system's like, you know, because I live in it, don't I? So I'm sympathetic to all that, you know. But the only way we can change the system is by changing it non-violently, because they've done the violent kick for millions of years, you know. And even if you can beat the establishment at their own game, you knock this place down, like Russia, you build it up, and then you hang on to it, because then you're the new establishment. And I don't believe in that game. I think violence begets violence. I think the only way to do it is Gandhi's way, and that's non-violent, passive, positive, or whatever they called it those days, you know.
Mr. Lennon, how about in 1941 or 1939, when Hitler was in power, the Americans came to the aid of the British nation. Would you have preached your philosophy to the American people then, saying don't practice violence, don't institute
I would have
war?
preached it to Hitler.
Would you have succeeded, do you think?
I can't speculate.
Well, if I were Hitler's girlfriend, you know, things would have maybe changed. And really, you know, when I say that, I mean, you know, the reason why there's war, or the reason why there's a dictatorship, is because people don't communicate enough, and people don't give love enough, you know. If everybody loved Hitler, you know, I mean, love meaning just really communicate and open his mind and turn him on and all that, you know, well, he wouldn't be there. He was there because he was isolated. He was there because he had a typical condition of a dictatorship, which is sort of like isolation, and nobody could really communicate with him, you know. So it's everybody's responsibility.
They say Hitler loved children. He was very fond of his nieces and
That was
nephews.
the little remnants of the Christ in him, probably.
Well, was there a need, for instance, for the Americans to come to the rescue of Britain after Hitler did come to power? Was there a purpose for that war?
I think probably what happened then was right for that moment.
To divert from.
Oh, it happened, you know. It happened.
So, I mean, if you believe violence will solve the problem, that's up to you. I don't, you know.
No, it's just.
They might have a few instances, okay? But nobody's ever tried the peace thing. just tell me any sustained peace propaganda or peace non-violent movements that ever lasted.
The civil rights movement in the States.
Yeah, it started off non-violent. What happened, you know? The marches turned into, every time they marched, there was chaos, you know.
Yeah, they make something like a too, guys.
Yeah, right, but I mean, so I think marching's old hat, you know, and it's time to put their heads together and came up with something new. Because they've been marching since the 30s or maybe before, and it was okay for the workers, and marching and placards was where their heads were at. But now it's a different age, you know, and it's gimmicks and salesmanship. And if that's what will put it across, that's the way to do it. Whether you're protesting against the conditions you live in, or the conditions you work in, or the conditions of the whole world, I think there's better methods to be used, you know. And we're not saying everybody lay in bed. I mean, it'd be a nice idea if they all did, you know. But okay, this is suitable for us. We hope it gives some suggestions for people to say, well, what good's that doing?
It's just a gimmick.
They'll do something else.
Yeah.
You know, we're selling it like soap, you know, and you're going to sell and sell until the housewife thinks, oh, well, there's peace or war. That's the two products.
Okay, you know, the thing is that you're criticizing the establishment. Okay, it's terrible and filthy and all that. But the point is that there are people too, and we're one way or other, we're stuck with them. You know, we're living in a small ghetto. The whole world is like a ghetto, and we're living with them, and we have to face them all the time. We can't ignore them. The only way to you know, change the world is change their minds. Now, we can do that. We can still do that. For instance, if, you know, a person who made Coca-Cola or something like that can condition people to such an extent, it's a filthy product, but, you know, such an extent so that everybody in the world is drinking Coca-Cola, why can't we do the same, you know?
You can, but are you significantly doing anything different?
We're doing it.
Oh, don't push me out the way again, please.
Don't get in front of the lynch.
What's so important?
No violence, please, not in the bedroom.
So we're saying, okay, the people who are against the establishment, the aware ones, you know, like the hippies and the hippies, you know, they're starting to become an establishment as well. They're snobs. They don't want to talk to the squares. They don't even want to know the existence of squares. All they want to do is stick their tongue out and say, you know, you better change your ways, establishment boy, you know. But the point is, instead of doing that and creating hatred, you know, why don't you go to the squares and extend your hands? Because you're the aware ones, you know. Maybe the establishment is like a retarded child, you know, but there is a retarded child. And, you know, you're stuck with the retarded child. You go to the retarded child, and then instead of killing the retarded child or something, you start to, you know, open up the retarded child's mind, you know. You're the one who has to extend the hands. If you don't extend the hands to the establishment, how would you expect the establishment to extend their hands to you?
But why must we make this perpetual compromise? Why must I sit down because this camera chooses to be more important than me because he represents some kind of institution? Why does he have the right to push me aside? I get pushed aside because I don't like violence
I'm
either.
not regarding the camera as an institution. That's your word, man. You know, the thing is that this camera represents to us a communication medium.
This is the compromise you must make all the time. This is the
I'm not
compromise.
making
We're
any
not
compromise.
compromising.
This
You
is
are
just
in taking the Queen
communication to
Elizabeth
us.
Hotel.
Well, what's the compromise there?
That's a great
You're
gimmick.
a snob, man. What's the compromise?
You're
It's not. It's a
snob now.
gas. It's a good gimmick.
Well, what's the compromise
Okay.
then?
You'd have to know what it's like to come up here and to sit there and
have
wait.
you
for it.
got
Well,
a
you did
suggestion
come
where
here,
we
didn't
could do this event?
You were able to come here.
Eh? Have you a suggestion? Yeah,
Okay, before
okay, tell
that.
us.
Okay, before you tell us this.
Tell us a better place we could do this.
Okay, I'm sure you have your own idea about it, but let's put it
I
this way.
accept it for what it is. All I'm saying is, do you
Yes.
accept that it's a compromise?
No, it's
No,
not
we
a
don't.
compromise. This is the
Well,
best
I
way
dig
that
it. I dig it in as much as I think it's a
Well, I
great
want you
gimmick.
to explain to me why it's a compromise to be in the Queen Elizabeth Hotel.
Because of the procedure that's involved in being here. Because of the procedures that are involved in getting to
So
the
what
media.
procedures are compromised?
Establishment
Procedure.
procedure.
Okay, you know
what's
what?
established
Procedure to the media. The media is the root
So
of
you
the
want us to be
violence.
snobs and not talk to them because they're establishments?
You're
That's what you just
talking
said.
like
I'm
a
not talking relaxed,
spinster
though. It's-
poet, you know, who's a Puritan or something like that. Let's forget that. You know, even to sell soap or Coca-Cola, you have to have a fantastic campaign, and they're selling it every day, you know, like repeating the name of the product and all that. They're going on like this. Now, if we want to compete with them, you know, the baddies are selling their goods like crazy every day. If we want to compete with them, we have to at least do as much campaign as they're doing, you know.
Mr. Leonard, you condemn civil rights marches in...
I don't condemn them, you know, I'm with them. I'm just saying, isn't it about time they thought of something else? They've been marching for 60 years. I think it's ineffective. The CND people came to us in England and said, we agree with you, it's ineffective, what do you suggest we do? I said, you've got women, haven't you? Use sex. Every day in the popular papers they have bikini-clad girls. Get the CND girls in there. Use sex for peace.
Do you include campus violence, campus building takeovers? Are you condemning those things?
Sit-ins are okay. I don't see why they have to destroy the building to take it over, you know. Either sit in it and take it over or leave it. Take no notice of it.
Building is a building, you know.
Right. You know, you don't need the building.
I think they like it.
Well, then, the Americans are very interested in what happened at Harvard, for instance, and in Berkeley and at City College recently. Are you condemning, then, the methods that were used at those universities?
We're not condemning anything.
No,
we're just saying, how about thinking of something else? If you were successful, we congratulate you. And if you missed, think of something else, you know. Be like the Indians and retreat. I know they lost in that, but their philosophy was right.
I hate to badge you on this, but if they're successful by using violent means...
No, I don't agree, you know, because violence begets violence. The successful revolutions were Russia and France and England. We all had revolutions, and they were successful. And the new people took over power and built up all the buildings they'd broken down and had more babies, and they became established and repress the rest of the people, so that we see where violence gets us.
Mr. Leonard, I came down from New York expecting to find quite a different philosophy coming from you. You seem to be on the way to sainthood because you have no friends now on either side. Some of the people here seem to think you're counter-revolutionary, and
He's still my friend.
The establishment seems to fear you. They won't let you in, they won't give you visas and everything else. You're standing right in the middle now between two factions, preaching a totally different philosophy. Have you found this kind of antagonism in many of among your previous friends?
It's not antagonism, it's just, you know, it's exactly what Yoko said. We're in two different bags before. She was avant-garde, I was pop. We met, fell in love, okay? But that didn't solve the problem of our personalities and our previous work and everything and all that. And we had to sort of destroy each other's games and preconceived concepts of what avant-garde, you know, pop singer, you know, and we had to find out what we really were. You know, so that's all we're doing with these people, and that's what they're doing to us. They're saying, what do you think you're doing? And we're saying, we think we're doing this. What do you think you're doing? That's the only way to communicate. I mean, if two lovers who are deeply in love still have to destroy each other's games to get through to each other, then we must do it with the world, you know. I mean, we were heading towards it, but it came to a head.
And another thing that was very interesting was, you know, people start to say, well, what an ugly couple, you know, freaks, you know, and we were sort of mainly known as, you know, the world's ugliest couple and a freak, you know, and it started first, you know, it sort of bugged us, well, well, we're not that ugly, or, you know, all that. But then I say, okay, why don't we sell ourselves as an ugly couple, you know, it's great. And then we thought, okay, let's be the freaks, because at least, you know, then the people get a laugh out of, you know, from us, you know. And so maybe the society helped us too to realize what we are, you know. But I mean, we started